Public Eye, and today we are going to be looking at street hawking. Now, most cities in Nigeria have one thing in common, and that would be traffic. Lagos is well known around the world as one of the cities with the biggest gridlocks anywhere in the world. It's something sometimes to be proud of, as they say, Lagos or Nigeria, no they carry last. Now, with that is the question, who hawks on the street? But more importantly, it seems like the Nigerian people and the Nigerian government have been in a constant song and dance up and down for decades about whether people should be allowed to hawk on the streets or trade in traffic or not. In Lagos State, for example, and many other states, there have been bans after bans after bans. There's raids after raids after raids. No matter what happens, people go back to the streets to hawk, not only in traffic, but also on the sides of the road and makeshift market. Now, this is a country that prides itself on entrepreneurship. What, therefore, is the challenge between the desire to sell and to make a living in a way that the government will find acceptable? So today we are going to be talking with people who actually hawk. The fact of the matter is that most Nigerians at some point in their life have either also sold in traffic, in markets, or one way or the other, because selling is in the culture of our people. That's ourselves. We're going to take a break, and when I come back from the break, we'll start our story from one of the kindest acts anybody's ever seen recently on the main traffic streets of Lagos.
In the blistering heat, through the maze of cars driving past, barefooted in rain or sunshine, dripping sweat on callous skins, some people have to earn a living. This is the only way they know to earn a living. But they are not lazy people who couldn't learn in school and dropped out. They are mostly people who have been disadvantaged and marginalized in a country where over 70% live below the poverty line. They do whatever is necessary to survive without resorting to crime. Most of them, like everyone else, have dreams and aspirations of a better tomorrow. Right here on the streets, the combined value of their potential is worth billions of dollars. We must do better as a society to give them fair and equal chances to fulfill their lifelong dreams and make their lives better.
Right, welcome back. It's Public Eye, and today we're talking about street hawking. I have two guests with me already in the studio, one of whom is a celebrity of sorts of his own right by a very impressive act of kindness. I'm going to start my introduction from Jeremiah Ekuma. Jeremiah became a viral star when, whilst hawking in traffic, he gave money to inmates who were being transported to perhaps the court or the prison. I don't know for sure. You tell me if you know. But they were correctional. Basically, they were. We don't know if they were awaiting trials or if they were just being taken somewhere and they needed help. So, Jeremiah, good to see you.
Thank you.
I know you have met a lot of celebrities now. So, me, Papa, I'm starstruck to be with you.
Yeah.
Very good to see you. And joining you also is your cousin, this morning, Barnabas Ekuma, also Ekene. Is it Ekene? Ekene? Ekene and Barnabas. All right, I'm going to start from the video because that's how all of us knew you. I want to go back to that moment, at the moment where you decided, I don't know if you remember the point where you decided, you know what, I'm going to give this money.
I cannot even forget it in a haste. Like, it's always rekindling in my memory. So, on that fateful day, though that day the sales was actually very poor, extremely poor. Like, I can actually rate that day to be one of the poorest, or one of the days I've made poorest sales. Then it was around between 4-5 p.m. in the evening. I went from VGC bound to Lekki, Then I arranged some bottles of water in crate. I thought, I can remember it was 16. Then I was able to sell out 8. Then returning back to VGC from toll gate. Then I was grumbling, crying inside my heart. Oh God, why all this thing now? Why all this? I've seen a lot now. Look, I've dropped out from school. I don't want to engage in bad things. At least as I'm hustling, God at least supports me. I was then crying inside my heart. Then as I was coming forward, even I got to that square, that VGC square, while I was waiting for traffic to show red, so I'll be able to cross to the other side of the road, immediately the traffic light showed red, every car has to stop. Then trying to cross to the other side of the road, like 2 or 3rd line of the traffic, I saw the correctional center van. Then I was trying to pass by. One person inside the van asked me, "Brother, help us." Then I was trying to give 1 bottle of water to the guy, but I realized the holes were very, very small that the bottle of water cannot penetrate. Then I dished out 100 naira from my hand, then gave to him. Then every other inmate started shouting, "Bros, can you help us? Can you help us?" Like immediately another spirit entered me. I realized I'm even enjoying a better opportunity than them. Then I started giving to everybody. Then people at the back started shouting, "Brother, can you come to this side?" Then I went to that side and started giving to them. Like I bought 1,000 naira change, 100 naira note. But before then, I had other 100 naira notes. So it was about that kind 1,800 or let me say 2,000 naira change. Then I was giving. My boss that recorded it, Rocky, said he waited when I would stop. I could not stop. Then I even went to the backside and started giving. He said, "No, this is one of the rare things you have not seen." Then he was able to capture the last 3 persons I gave. And by then, the traffic have shown green. Every car have to move. Then immediately he asked me of my number. He will call me later on. I thought it was a kind of pranks. You know, Lagos, people can play with anything. I was a kind of door to give it to him, but I just decided to let me just give it and let go. Then I gave him my number. He said he will call me later on. Then one man on Hilos, match break, and gave me 1,000 naira note. Then I didn't even think about it. I just see it as Lagos life. But after then, I became so weak. When I tried to pick up with the struggle again, I'm almost exhausted. I say, no, it's already late. By then, it's getting to 6 o'clock. Though, we do hop till that kind 11 o'clock in the night. Because by then, the number of hawkers will reduce. And the number of transport from VGC to Costain will also reduce. So that's the calculation. And that's how it happened. Then the following day, it came. I don't even know that they are looking for me because rain fell that day. There was rain in the night. So that morning, it was still raining. But when they saw me, I was so much shocked that they were under the rain looking for me, you know, spending their time for me, even when I don't care. So that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. It's a very good goals. Because what you did is really, to put it in perspective, how much would you have made normally on a day?
Based on how the sales look like that day, I don't even think that I'm supposed to make up to 1,000 naira.
And you gave?
Because we used to come with money. So you'll be able to buy change and then start up with the hustle.
So you basically gave everything and more than you had to. What was it about that first person that made you react?
Nothing. Like, immediately he asked me. At the first point, I became frustrated because I said, of course, today is bad already. Then, immediately I gave to him. He said, "God bless you." Then, my intention was just to give out and let go. I didn't even know that the prayer would be so effective. And
let me talk to your cousin a bit. Because from what I hear is that you came to meet your cousin and you were living with him. You know, and you, Barnabas, you already were hawking on the streets.
So I came to Lagos on, my first time was on August.
You had never been to Lagos before then?
Yes.
You just carried back, come out for house?
Yes, I just...
On your own?
Yes.
Right.
Though I have a friend that was staying at Lagos who I was coming to meet. So I came to Lagos that August and I had to go back on September because of my school. I had a program then that I had to...
So you were a student in Ebonyi?
Yes.
And you came to Lagos?
Yes.
To do what?
To put some things together.
Just hustle small.
Yes.
Okay, I understand now. Mm-hmm.
So when I went back, I wanted to come back the following month, which is October, but I was delayed due to NSAS. So I came back on December the same 2020. So I've stayed in Lagos from then till he came. I have not gone back since then till he came. Though when he met me, when he came, I wasn't informed he didn't inform me that he was coming. I just met him in a shock and all that, you know.
So you that have left Ebonyi wanting to find your own leg in Lagos, you know, your cousin just arrived like that without telling you, and you just let him in too, because that's what we do now, isn't it?
Yes, it was quite difficult though, because I was staying with someone. The house was not mine fully, so it was like the person was helping me. Then I saw him, and he's not someone that I can say, you can find your way. No. So I had to go and talk with them. I know how to convince them to accommodate him, that he's my real blood. I cannot push him away.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why you took him.
Fortunately, they agreed, and he stayed with us.
Okay, so let me come back to you now, Jeremiah. Okay. Why did you come to Lagos?
Before I came to Lagos, though, I just made a choice to come to Lagos when other choices have failed. Because before then, I used to go to Port Harcourt and do the hawking. But with the little money I saved in Port Harcourt, I tried to go back to school because I have passion for education, and it has been my dream that after secondary school, I'll go to university. And to become a lawyer is always my dream. So when I was in Port Harcourt, it was full of ups and downs. But by the grace of God, the little I saved then, I decided to right jump and go back to school. Then when I go back to school, you know, Ebonyi State University is cost, and it's a state university. Lecturers, school, they build students a lot. So when I went back, the story was unfair. With the little I had, I was able to pay my house rent, run clearance, buy food stuff. I started school, buy some textbooks. Then the little I had in my account was not enough to complete the school fees. So I tried, as in nothing I could not do. I started asking friends, some politicians I knew, to the extent that, like, the second semester, a week before the exam, because immediately exam starts, portals will be closed. Both course registration and school fees, things like that won't go on again. Then when I discovered that it's getting to an end, as even classmates, I started telling them, guy, you can find me 5,000 at least. Let me just get range number and write this exam. Maybe I can drop, then and submit a withdrawal letter. I'll make the money for you, but none of them was helping. Some would tell me tomorrow. Tomorrow I say, guy, no, I traveled, I came back with nothing. Or, my guy, I don't have this money. So dropping out was the last option I had because I've tried all. Then I said, I'm supposed to go back to Port Harcourt because if I go back to Port Harcourt, people that will help me are many because I made a lot of friends there. But then, the shame of telling them that I dropped out of school, even when few of them sent me money during my matriculation, And so many of them, when they call me on phone, counsel, barrister, lawyer in equity, lawyer in all those things. So it was a very big blow on me, like very big shame, going back to tell them I've dropped out. So when I thought about it, I said, no, I can't go back to Port Harcourt. Though I can convince them for a number of months or days, but actually few of them know, or many of them know, law student doesn't stay out of school for a long time. It's a space of 2 or 3 weeks or a month, they'll be back. So how will I shape my mouth telling them or trying to convince them? So when I could not answer those questions, I resolved to come to Lagos. But then, I have few friends in Lagos or few relations in Lagos. Even him, I know he's in Lagos, but I know he was not that strong enough financially. So when I thought about it, who will I call? And if you call somebody in Lagos, he will never agree that there's a space or there's accommodation. He will always find reason to tell you 1 or 2 stories. I said, no, I'll come on away. I'll come on away. By then, he won't have any other option than to make space for me. So that day, I went to park. I don't even know where to stop. But I asked them, I've been hearing information from them, like parks. Then I was able to know the nearest park to his house. Then I went to bus stop and bought a car.
That's how you arrived in his house. So
when I got there, I was very lucky to see somebody I know. The person directed me to another person that knows him. That's how.
So you do native GPS, enter in house.
That's how I got to him.
That's how you yeah. Let me come back to you, because this is actually really something really kind that he did too, to take you in at that time, because without him, you won't even be able to settle, to even find something to do.
The day I came, he became restless. Like, he could not talk. He could not say anything. He just looking at me. And
okay, you are the older of the two.
Huh?
You are the older one.
Yeah,
who's older? Yes.
I'm the older one.
Okay.
He was speechless, and he was somebody that was squatting accepted him.
Oh.
There he goes.
So he was squatting with someone who was squatting.
Yes.
And you are now coming to squat on top of him. The reason I'm asking all these stories, many times when people are talking about hawkers, they talk about them as if they are aliens. As if this is not us. And this is not, because what you are explaining now is what I see happen, not just in Nigeria, that this is a transitioning. When people want to go to an urban, it's like everywhere else. If you go to London today, now the person where you first meet, maybe they will introduce you, you start selling cheese in the market. Or you start selling, that's how it works there too. So I know, for example, that Jeremiah, you are in school because the thing became big and you got many, many big boys. Now, what's that song? Are you bamming with the big boys?
I'm chilling with the big boys.
Are you chilling with the big boys? Now, what about your cousin?
Yeah, him too. Because our boss is just a big boy.
Mm-hmm. So both of you are going to go back. You are back in school now.
I'm back in school.
And you are you going back to school? Are you back already?
I'm not fully back, though. I'm planning to, because I bought JAM form right now.
Bought JAM to start again.
Yeah.
All right.
So currently there are many things that are still on my table. I'm learning photography currently, and there are many things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not one to tell you that you must go to university. If it is photography, you are learning a skill, and that's a profession. So no need to be ashamed of it at all. We need people who can do that in this kind of job that we do. The point I wanted to make, is for us to look at, why people hawk. Because many times, oftentimes, governments ban hawkers. So tell me your experience whilst both of you were hawking. Did you have any problems with, people who, how does it work? Who do you go to? Where do you start? Tell me.
Normally, one of the reasons why people go into street hawking is because of financial constraint. If you have enough money to start up a business, you won't go stressing yourself on the street. So the reason is because the little or the much you can do is to start from street. And how we do it is like if you come, if you have friends, they can contribute money to you, or one person can give to you if you have, because it doesn't take a lot. Unless you want to start up another like accessories business, those ones used to be cost. When it comes like selling plantain chips, or those snacks and water, it doesn't cost a lot. Somebody can just give you 4,500, 5,000 naira, and you'll start it up. So, but when I came, going to them, this one deny, and they were afraid to help me because it is almost December. Everybody wants to travel. If you ask this one, no, I don't have it. You ask this one, I don't have it. Then it was the way I started pressurizing them. No, I can't be in though. No. I will follow you to the market. Maybe I'll start them somewhere. I will sit down somewhere. At the end of the day, you come and give me food. If not, just find a way for me. When I started telling them all those things, one person gave to me 1,000 naira, and that person gave me 1,000 naira, making it. One person gave me 2,000, and that person gave me 2,000, making it 4,000 naira. And I was able to buy a crate. Then I bought the crate 500 naira. I paid transport 500 naira. Then I bought change 1,000 naira. Then I used 2,000 naira to buy the water. So that's how you must start with a little.
And when you, because what the explanation I have on my notes is that you were making money, and you were still sending money. You were making some money. You were saving some money because you wanted to go back to school, and you were still sending money home because you have 9 siblings.
Actually, the first and second week I started the business. People had collected money in the village, like. The only thing my mother could not say was her pant. So he went borrowing from friends and, from all these daily contributions. And, it was almost December. People want to share their money and use it for their Christmas. So that was when I could not wait. Immediately I dropped because I know debts are calling. There are so many debts I need to settle. So I had to leave immediately. So I just hawked for like, let me say a week. Before 5 days safe, I already started receiving calls from villages. So I even collected a little he saved that week with a letter I saved and sent to village. Right. So to make sure people don't come harassing my mother.
Okay, I'm going to take a break.
Yeah.
I have a very important question to ask when I come back from the break. So think about it. Why hawking and not crime? Well, don't answer me now. Think about it. Why hawk? If they kidnap now, if you carry gun, why hawking? After the gun. Right, welcome back. It's Public Eye, and today we are talking about street hawking, the whys and whers of how one ends up on the streets, what the life is like, and why we ban street hawking, and what the alternatives might be. We already have met my guest earlier. He went viral on the online because he was giving money he didn't have to people who were even more apparently desperate than him. We are joined now by a third guest because we're going to continue that conversation, and I wanted to welcome her, Omolara Olawoyin. Omolara, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I know that you run your own home. It's called Grace Springs Rehabilitation Home. But basically what you do is interface between governments, NGOs, on issues that have to do with young people on the streets, generally. So we will have a bigger conversation. I wanted to ask, because before we went on the break, I asked a question that I think is quite important, especially given the security. I'm not a fan of big titles, because when you use a big titles, you emotionally detach from it. When we say security problem, but when you say kidnapping, killing, things like that, then it brings it back home. So there are many options for young people now, especially young men. But both of you chose not to do that. Why not crime?
You know,
What are you if you do Yahoo?
you know, in life, human existence is controlled by, let me say, two different phenomena. It can be nature, it can be nurture. So the hood you were brought up affects life. Then how you are naturally born also affects life. Like for me, actually when I was small, I don't know how I lived, but when I began to grow up, like as from 15 years, I began to realize the type of family I'm coming from. My family is such a family that has principle. If not, my appearance is supposed to be a criminal. I'm supposed to be a criminal, the way I appear to people. But I believe I was brought up in a good family. So when the rest of my decision failed, I never even give it a thought, like to go into arms, cultism. No, it was never my option because I still believe better days are ahead.
The way you were brought up, you just know you have a bigger purpose. That's what you are saying, you know, and this is not how you are going to go. You're just not going to do that, which is really impressive given the circumstance, you know. The same thing for your cousin too, isn't it, Barnabas? You know, why didn't you do crime too? Or did you?
No, if I did, you wouldn't have seen me here.
Pardon?
I said if I did, you wouldn't have been seeing me here. You wouldn't have seen
I
me
know,
here.
that's why I said it. It is you.
So,
Kudos to both of you, really. Yeah. It's a great example. I wanted to ask about hawking on the streets and, you know, the government, because I cannot count how many times the government has banned street hawking. In every state, they're always banning it. I mean, we are going to have a conversation with them some other time about that, but did you have problems with maybe, you know, the task force always picking people up, you know? I hear all kinds of things happen. Did you have that experience?
We had a lot. Like when it comes to government and street hawkers, it's never funny. Like when I was in Port Harcourt, Obiakpo, they picked me up 3 good times. I lost everything I had. Like all your goods, you will still bail yourself. So they picked me up 3 times. At the end, you will start afresh. But was lucky. When I came to Lagos, they said people that hawk at VGC, that are rough, so rough that K doesn't go there. Even not even Manowo, because they fought them seriously. So when I went there, they started telling me that it's only here that you can manage, because when I came, the street in Lagos is quite different from Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt will push wheelbarrow, like buy goods and put in wheelbarrow and pushing it along the street. But here, it was on traffic. They said, you got to be careful. And I have to learn the strategies, how to cross, you know, maneuver cars. So, but the stories I've been hearing about Kai, how they deal with our people, how they harass them, how they got them imprisoned without giving them fair hearing, all of that. The story wasn't funny, but I had the courage to go in because I believed in myself.
So even for all we know, some of the people they were transporting in that van self, it might even have been hawkers that they picked up.
Yeah.
For all we know. We have tried to, we will talk to them, but for all we know, we don't even know, because that's the thing. You know, we had the minister in charge before on this show. You know, we are still going to ask again, because they said that those kind of people, they should have had drinks and food if they are moving them from one place to the other. You know, what sort of people are they even moving? We don't know if these are hardened criminals or people they just picked on the streets for something like hawking. I want to come to you, Molara, and that's regarding what I said earlier, that why is government so against hawking? From your own interfacing, what is the issue?
Actually, hawking is for me, even because of the situation in the country, actually, I want to talk, you know, it might not be why government is in, but reason why people are doing it, you know. So, because of the economic situation in the country, I've seen that hawking has been part of our lives. It might not be in this magnitude, people being on the streets, I mean, in the traffic, but we've always have people hawking, moving from one street to the other. And then what government should do is ask, why are they hawking?
Because that's actually, let me rephrase my earlier question. Because I know enough to know that successive governments, what they have said is that one, for sanitary purpose, for environmental purpose, for the look of cities, because usually in cities they really target it, and also they say for security reasons. So I've heard those are the many different reasons they say that they do. Which of these reasons stands to hold against the fact that this is this is a stopgap economic, this is a big part of the informal sector that employs a large percentage of people who ordinarily might have to take less savory options. Which of it holds up in your own opinion?
Well, if you look at, I'll pick on security. Majority of, from what I've heard this young man, two young men said, they have, they don't, a lot of people come to the streets, I mean, to Lagos, for example, for this, I mean, to Ozu, like they said, and they now happen not to, they were lucky that they could get someone they can stay with. But there are some, and they, you know, he was able to trace his cousin, and he didn't really end up on the wrong, I mean, in the wrong hands, you know, the wrong kind of people, you know, because I've seen, in my course of working with the children, I've seen when they come like that, they don't have any place, they don't know anybody, they will end up on the street. And they will, the kind of people they meet will now let them know, oh, don't worry, this is what we do, we'll train you. Some are into this kind of robbery, thieving, you know, like that. And before you know it, they'll become hardened. And because of that, governments are now clamping down on them, believing that all of them are into that kind of thing. But they are not, it's not all of them that are into that kind of thing. For example, the reason why most of them came to Lagos is to Ozu. They just want to make a living.
But for example, there are pickpockets in a market. There are pickpockets in government. Nobody has banned government. Nobody has banned, you know, that sort of thing. So it's because I understand some of the points they're making, because there's a clear difference between hawking, selling things on the street, and picking pockets, or climbing Okada and robbing people. So the reason why it might happen, one, there's traffic. Two, policing needs to improve. You know, but hawking on the streets seems to be a legitimate way for people to transition from coming from one part of the country to the other, coming from one stage in life to another, and so on and so forth. Why is that such a difficult conversation to have?
Well, I don't know. For the government, you know, we are NGO, and we look at things differently, you know. And for me, like I said earlier, people, the only thing that I believe government should do is to regulate. You know, and in my research, I find out that hawking, it happens all over the world.
Yep.
And in some countries, like India, Singapore, Malta, you know, they regulate them and they give them license. And there are regulations. This where you go, this area you should go, this where you should be. And it's working because they recognize that there are people that we still need to work to be able to earn a living. So the reason why government is clamping down on them is I don't really know. But I think government should look into the law. I believe there are the laws that are like Lagos State say we ban, but you look at your country, people that you have in your nation, the economic situation, and you look, okay, how best can they, because they need to live, they need to eat, how best can we manage this situation? It is for you to outright, say you want to ban hawking, it's not something, with the way our economy, with the way situation is right in our country right now, it's not something that is possible. The government is concentrating on the urban center and neglecting the rural area, as if rural area is not part of the nation, because they have to look at things holistically. For example, the rural community, they don't have good roads, they don't have the necessary basic amenity, no light, no water, no industry. There's nothing for young man to do. And then all our effort is to make the urban center and a mega city. But without looking at, okay, you have neglected those. Everybody wants to be part of it. They want to have their own, who does not like the good life? I love it too. I can't stay in the village. Yes, all the way. Like what has happened now, they have to leave there, wherever they are, in the east, and come down to Lagos. Since all the government is concentrating on Lagos, on the urban city, yes, let us come and have our own share of the national cake. And that's what has happened now. There's need now for government, and there should be advocacy on the need for government to start developing the rural area too, so that people, wherever you are in this country, you'll be able to at least make a living.
Even other smaller towns and cities. It's very interesting you mentioned mega cities, because what I also notice is that leadership here, we tend to copy some parts of the world. And it's not just, I said leadership because I didn't want to say just government, because I see we do it in corporates, we do it in government, we do it in so many other sectors. So for example, this same problem is happening in many parts of the world. So all the big cities are really big, and there's a lot of stretch on the resources in those places, and all of them have their own version of street hawking, in those places. However, similarly, they too have neglected a lot of their rural areas. So one of the things I like to say is that Nigerians basically are actually good people, because if I give you an example of the UK, aside from London and a few cities, many of the little towns are derelict. They are really, really derelict. The reason people have not noticed yet, one, they don't go, so they don't know, is because government gives some sort of basic for people to exist. And I use the word exist carefully, because the weather there is not like here. You will die if you don't get some things done, and the people will revolt. However, they also have big, big issues because of this. Big, big, big issues. And since we are so-called developing countries, why do we not learn that they have made a mistake instead of now copying their mistake? So a lot of the conversations, and I sit with a lot of these boys, and I often find it challenging and say, when you are talking about development, are you telling us to do development in a way that has failed? Or is failing? It's failing for many places in the world. Because we are not developed, so-called, we have a unique opportunity to develop on our own terms if we don't see our people as useless. If these guys were not sitting here, if Jeremiah wasn't sitting here and Barnabas wasn't sitting here, they saw them on the street, they'll just be saying, see these miscreants. That's another word we like to use. Yes. Waiting be miscreants. And your pikin be miscreants. Do you know what that sort of thing? There's a great system, and that's the Igbo apprenticeship system. The business is a great, great system that actually that could have been used as a development plan. Because you will become lawyer tomorrow, you become photographer, all of you are going to become different things. Why don't we ask why people are doing so? And if the reason is genuine and cogent, as we have seen, why can't we organize it better to work for us? Why is that not the option that we're taking. And can you imagine a Lagos where you have really organized, and that's part of the feature of Lagos. It could become things that people come to you for, you know, but hey, what do I know? What do I know? I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to kind of do a Q&A, because some people in the audience might want to ask you questions, because as it is now, you're chilling with the big boys. I'm going to take a break. Right, welcome back. Publica it is. And we're talking about street hawking. Now, before the video went viral, somebody had to have filmed it, and somebody had to have uploaded it. This is how these things happen. Everybody plays a small role, and something just shifts, and you just never know when things are going to shift. I mean, this particular one was filmed by, well, everybody seems to be calling him Rocky, and well, he did rock something. So he's there, and I would like to ask him, you know, at that, why he did what he did also. Rocky?
Hi, everyone. So, I had an impromptu shoot. I had an impromptu shoot in Lekki Phase 2. And because it was my rest day, so usually I have like 2 days in a week to rest after a long. So it was my rest day, it was in the evening, and I had an impromptu shoot in Lekki Phase 2. Jumped out of my bed, I had my boat, ordered boat, it was right by my door, which is so unusual. And when I was just staying with the cab guy. When I got to VGC, I saw, so there was already a plantain chips guy who gave plantain chips to them through the window. And then while I was just like, how I wish I had cash, I would have loved to pay this guy off so he can like sell or give everything he had on him, because he just gave one and he left. So while I was still trying to source for cash from the cab guy, I just saw another guy sharing money to them. And I'm like, wow, like I've never seen anything like this before. A pure water, a table water hawker sharing is... So we're still both surprised, and I just felt like I could actually film this. Since I'm a photographer, and I usually film funny stuff like that on the road and everything. So the problem I now had was I was rushing down for a shoot, and I needed to write about it. So right there, we had to park. Immediately I filmed it, I called him, I said, I need your number so I can send you something. I just saw what you did. That was very nice of you. Give me your number, I'll call you, I'll take your account number then. That was the intention. So when I got to where I was going to, I watched the video again. I said, instead of having this to myself, let me actually share it. This is not a story post, because story lasts for just 24 hours. Let me put it on my page. Then, boom, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I already had like 5,000 views, which is so unusual. And 5,000 views with about 200 shares. Before we even finished the shoot, I already started getting calls. The shoot I was going for, I already started getting calls. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Okay, let me call the guy that gave me his number. Switched off. Called, switched off. When they call me again, I'll call the number, switched off. I said, what rubbish is this now? Then, when I was going home, the calls were already much, so I was not picking calls again. I just felt like, when I got to my house, it was ba ba ba. When I see the call again, I'll try to call the number, switched off. All night, switched off. Then one of my clients called me and said, we need to look for that guy. That personally, then I put up a post after that. I said, because of, when I saw the turnout, I said, okay, let's raise 250K for him. Let's at least set him up to an extent. Then people entered my DM and said, I'm ready. So in like 2-3 minutes after the post, I already had that 250K. Plus the one I wanted to give him. So the client called and said, she'll be sending 500K to him. I said, okay, we are getting somewhere. So that was the person that gave me the ginger that, okay, just go back. Let's go on. Then I had another, I had an early shoot in the morning. The following morning, I had to leave my house very early so I don't run late. How do I explain to my clients that I went to look for? So left early, went to VGC, rain started falling, it became more difficult for us. We had to wait. I called my clients, it's raining here, and you saw what happened yesterday, the client said, take your time, look for him. Even when you see him, you can bring him for our shoot. I said, nice one. Then I had more time to myself. Not until, so it's so difficult to walk up to a street talker and ask them that I'm looking for this guy. We don't know him. They will go behind, they say, another guy, maybe you don't cause trouble. I have to tell them that cause trouble. Then I don't want to tell them what has happened. So I have to be tactical about how I move. Then at some point I started sharing money that, okay, please, we need to go. Like, just help us look for him. Everybody, we don't know him. One said, he's there. Then we started roaming about. And that's not me. Not until we saw Barnabas. Then Barnabas said, I was very tired, honestly. When I saw him, he was just like, I know him. So it was the second guy that was with me that was like, we could actually give him a voice. I said, well, then I went to him, I said, do you know him? He said, yes. I said, who is it? How do you know him? He said, we live to, you live to, come. Grabbed him by his belt. Then he said, he's somewhere there. But yeah, take us there. Boom, he disappeared. I was changing it for the guy with me. How did you let him go now? I just saw both of them running towards me. I said, thank God. Meanwhile, when we met him, he said he told him about a story that happened yesterday, which was about me. Then I was asking him that, how did he know? He said when he got to me, he said he shared money to prisoners. Then he realized that someone was filming him, that the person took his number. So that was when, so for him now to disappear, I was like, hope it's not that this guy went to tell Jerry, I didn't know his name at that time, wherever he is, that trouble is coming, run away. So the shark came, I said, this is the day you are leaving the street. Picked him up. Then we started getting calls, money. I went live. I shared his account details. Boom, 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 boom.
What kind of relationship do the two of you have now?
They are both my brothers. We stayed together, not until he went to school.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I have a suggestion or perhaps a contribution. For me, really, like seeing people on the street hawking, it touches my heart. And firstly, to have a system that is working, is inevitable. Thank you.
There is a system, and that is a system that people who come into the city, they find a way to hawk. Otherwise, they may take other options. That system already works. We need to organize it. We need to respect it. We need to build it. That is the problem with Nigeria. Everything already works. It's like the market system. The market has a security system. It already works. We don't respect it. We don't organize it. We don't build it. It's not like it works for everyone. So, for example, of course, even on the street, there will be abuse. There will be danger. So that is where government needs to step in to organize it so that the likelihood of all of that will be a lot less. Otherwise, we will leave millions of people without an option other than crime.
Hi, everyone. So my point is, basically, I have a contribution, actually. I believe street hawkers and every market person on the roadside is solving a problem. Because if there was no traffic, if I'm not sweating in traffic, I will not need water. If I can get to my destination in 15 minutes or in 10 minutes, I'm not stranded. But sometimes you are in traffic, you are stranded, even with your SUVs and everything, with the AC and everything, you still need to buy plantain chips or water. So it's very obvious that the government has failed in an area, and these people are coming in. It's a solution. It's not a permanent solution, but it's something that alleviates the pain and the stress of traffic, especially in Lagos. That's one. Secondly, if the government is going to be speaking against hawking, there is nothing in place to solve this issue. Because now there's been private participation. There are a lot of scholarship programs. My twin brother is enjoying one, and I know how much frustration is in that sector when NGOs and some other private people try to help to probably give scholarships, training programs and all that. But when a training program is ongoing, there's no light. They still have to struggle for fuel, diesel, the price is going up again. I mean, you're trying to help people, but you are running at a loss. Not only at a loss, you're even getting into debts and all that. A lot of them have closed down. So what I'm saying is, we need good people to lead, not good leaders. And if there are kind people here, I mean, there's a young man who went out of his way to actually get someone off the street and all that. I think we need more of good people, and let kindness just lead us in this country. Instead of having good leaders, we need good people to lead. That's my point. Thank you.
So that's a good point, that even some people who they rehabilitate and they give business and they go and get a shop, it's actually much more profitable sometimes to be on the streets than in the shop, where you're then running cost of generator, running this, and then you can't get customers. That's a really interesting point. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Glory Johnson. So I would love to make a suggestion, since we have an NGO in the building and we have an organization that can stand as a middleman between us and the government. So yes, we understand that the government is trying to make us safe by saying, okay, let there not be hawkers on the streets, so maybe truck or something does not crush them. But my suggestion to the government would be, if you want to take off these hawkers, at least you should create an enabling environment, or maybe a structure whereby they don't need to hawk, but they'll just be in that maybe in the shop or something and sell. And at the same time, they're not happy hawking. Nobody's happy being under the sun, hawking anything, or under the rain. You see them at times, they are running. So if the education system is working, now when I say education system is working, not a situation whereby somebody wants to buy, I don't know how much they sell jam form now, but not a situation whereby somebody wants to buy jam form and jam form is going for maybe 10,000. I don't have idea. When I wrote my own, it was like 2,000 or 3,000. So let's say now jam form is going for 10,000 naira, and you have a civil servant who is earning 30,000 naira. And he has 4 children to feed. So how do you expect him to pay jam form, still feed other children, still buy foodstuff in the house? So my point here is this: if government can make education more easy and flexible, at least whereby the parent is earning maybe 30,000 naira, within that 30,000 naira, they can still send the child to school, not whereby, as he said, he was supposed to be in school. One of them said they were supposed to be in school, but due to the fact that there was no money, he had to come to Lagos to hawk and see how he can get money again to go back to school. So if the education system is flexible, whereby things are affordable, you want to buy course form, you're buying course form for a huge amount, you want to see your course rep, you want to see your lecturer, everything is expensive. You don't expect them to just sit at home and be illiterate. They will fall back to something. So what I'm saying is, if the government can make education flexible and affordable, yes, that's one point in which you can get people off the street, and also create a structure for them whereby they don't need to hawk on the street again, and they be in that structure. And also, I've taken my time to notice, when you're walking on the road, you see that somebody that is selling pure water, you still see what they call them, Agbero, coming to collect 15 naira, coming to collect 100 naira. And they don't collect this 15 naira, 100 naira in the morning alone. They collect it morning, afternoon, night. Now I learned that they've increased from 100 naira to 200 or 250 naira. So my suggestion to the government would be, let them stop collecting all those 15 naira, no, not even 15 naira again, 250 naira they're collecting from the small income they're making. Let them stop it. And also, if they want to arrest them, because I walk on the road well, and I see the way they chase these people, as if no, they're chasing criminals. You're chasing people that is trying to earn a living from an economy that is not working. Take an instance, bag of rice. How much is bag of rice now? About 30,000 naira or so. They're trying to earn a living from an economy that is not working, and you're chasing them as if no, you're chasing criminals. Some of them, you even see them hit them on the head. And I'm wondering, why should tax force hit somebody on the head because he's trying to he's trying to earn a living when he's not a criminal? So my suggestion to government is, yes, we know you're trying to save their life so truck will not hit them. Create an enabling environment for them where they can stay and hawk their trades. Also, make education more flexible, whereby it's not that because you want to go to school, you have to train.
You have an advocate in the house.
You have to do this, yes. You have to do that. That's my second suggestion. And my third suggestion that is very important is, all these agberos that is collecting 250 naira in a day, let them limit it. If it's possible, let them not even collect it 250 naira from them.
So there's agbero, there's government tax force, there's all collecting from people working on the
little money that they make. So let them stop collecting this 250 naira, 500 naira from the little money that they make. Because if they stop collecting this 250 naira, 500 naira, at least if they make maybe, for instance, 3,000 naira in a day, if they add it up, you see that they'll stop hawking because they have something reasonable to save. But if they don't have anything reasonable to save and you collect 250 naira, you would arrest them and the next day they will come out again to hawk. So that's my suggestion. Thank you.
I see you actually going, yes. I think at the end of the day, what she's described is government should stop being anti-people. Both of you, I wanted to thank you for coming. One, also to thank you for setting such a great example. Hawking, I know, is not easy. She said everything that needs to be said. You know, people, it can be lots better. And that is the job of government. The job of government is not to provide everything, but to provide the enabling environment, the enabling law, and to get out of the way of people. I wish both of you all the best. I'm looking forward to when you graduate as a lawyer and when you become a top photographer. I also wanted to say to Rocky for making all that effort, thank you also. Great job. Thank you. You know, Anna Molara, thank you also for coming and for your advocacy work. Thanks, everybody. We are going to do our bit. She said our job is to intercede between government and people. You can be sure that all of this, we will take it to those whose job it is and ask them the questions that you have already asked and follow on thereafter. It's Public Eye. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.